Hello, so today I'll be talking about criminality's history. I'm making this video because there's a lot of new players coming out because criminality is now free. And I'm gonna teach the new players what the history of criminality is, to teach them some knowledge about crim. I wouldn't have made this if crim wasn't free and it got 5k players daily. Let me just start. So in January 2019 or 2020, RVVZ created a new game called Blood Test. Or it was called Blood Engine, I don't know, but no one has ever made a video on that game. It was very private. Even someone named Def, who makes higher quality videos, he couldn't even find any footage of it. Moving on, there was a game called I'll call it Blood Test 1 because it's kind of like Blood Test 1. It is kind of similar to Criminality, but it only has katanas and it does not have any guns. And when you reach 0 health, it's like when you get downed in casual. Here is some footage of the gameplay. As you see, it's kinda basic and it's not that fun. But this is a start where criminality gets developed. As you see, the gameplay looks decent and the UI kinda looks same as the old criminality's UI. There's also some NPC that's Ronald and he's just there in the map for some reason. Moving on, there is finally criminality public testing. It was made in January 2020. Every person who was a veteran in criminality liked the game a lot. The game introduced guns, and PDS also introduced money. The goal in criminality public testing was to just kill people to get cash. But every gun in PDS or criminality testing was really bad. They did 0 damage and they had really high recoil. But the game was fun because there was not a lot of teaming. The game banned teaming if they had above 5 players, which is nice because it bans gangs. And that is it about PDS. People who played criminality testing liked the game a lot. But before criminality, there was a criminality gun test thing. In criminality gun test, it was like Arsenal, but you needed 2 kills to get a upgraded weapon. The game was okay at best. The game was just Arsenal, but with criminality weapons. And in a CSGO source map. And that's all I'm gonna talk about criminality gun test thing. It was just Arsenal. And that is it about that game. Now I will talk about criminality pre-beta. Criminality officially launched on October 18, 2020. And if you got the game in October 18, 2020 to October 26, 2020, you would get a badge. After October 26, 2020, you can no longer get the badge for pre-beta. The game in its pre-beta costed 450 Robux. Flamingo and GDI made videos about it, which made criminality a little bit more popular, which helped criminality. After October 26, 2020, it's finally out of pre-beta. And after that, there was a bunch of patches. In 1.0.2, they added bounty alerts. In 1.0.3, they added the famous downing system. When you were down, you have to be revived by another teammate. If you cannot get revived, you just die. Also in 1.0.3, they also added the Uzi. But the Uzi was really trash back then. It had bad sights and the fire rate was terrible. In 1.0.4, they added a starter kit where you got Beretta and Shiv when you spawned in. Which was terrible because if you spawned in and you had a gang, you can just kill everyone who had a kit. The starter kits was a very bad idea. Finally, we got the 2020 Halloween update. It added a very big knife and it added the Hollows launcher. And it also added some cool Halloween armor. And I'm not talking about the Hollow launcher of Game Pass weapon. It was like the RPG but very nerfed. The Hollows launcher Mark 1 could not one-shot, unless they were point blank, or very near the rocket. The Halloween's knife was pretty okay, it was like the Rambo, but the Rambo did not exist until 1.2 dropped. And the armor looked really nice. This is a screenshot of the armor and it looked very, very nice. After 1.0.5 it got reverted. In 1.0.7 they reverted the Fist and Knuckle Duster's buff. They also added a thing where explosives could break saves now. And you couldn't even break a safe if you spawned in a new server in the first 3 minutes. Which is the most terrible cooldown ever. I thank God they removed it. It was annoying and terrible. They also added that you can only get your allowance claimed if you're near our ATM. which stopped ATM farming, but ATM farming did not do anything because you could only get like $600 back then. So RVZ added another stupid cooldown thing. The fists and knuckle dusters nerfed at created a lot of drama in the community because people were like kind of like mad that they got their weapons nerfed for some reason. I don't know. And you can no longer cancel reloading when you have a fist or a low tier weapon. In 1.0.8 they also added the Ithaca and the GL. These two new guns were pretty good. They also did a UI revamp and a bunch more stuff. In 1.0.8-2 they also added a gun buff. Every gun's damage got buffed by 35%, which is really good now. So that gun buff made every melee kinda trash now. But the community wanted it, so RVZ did not revert it. 1.0.8-2 divided the community because guns were too OP and people wanted them reverted, but some people didn't want them reverted, so this is why the meta is now guns. So if you join a game, you just get gunned down. Finally, in 1.1, you get the winter update, the 2020, not the 2022 version. The 2020 version was very nice. Lots of people played the game because of 1.1. The game was very fun. It added the original Slayer sword and the original Slayer armor, and they also added a snowball launcher, which is as not OP as the second one, but no one uses the second one anyways. There was also snow on the ground so you can throw snowballs at people, and they increased the level cap to 100. The winter update was very good. When I first joined, everyone was so friendly because everyone was just testing out things. And they also added the mare in 1.1. The Slayer sword did 70 damage and it could not one-shot unless you aim for the head. If you aim for the head and if they did not have a helmet in 1.1, the Slayer sword could instantly kill people. The mare was okay at best in 1.1. And there was presence around the map in 1.1. You could get a Slayer sword, a chainsaw, or a piece of coal in the presence. After 3 months of the community waiting, we finally got 1.2. 1.2 was the second best update ever. They added the RPG and nunchucks, the FNP, and Rambo. And in 1.2, the snow was finally gone. 1.2 buffed a lot of melees and nerfed a lot of guns, but the worst thing about the update is that they buffed the DB too much. Shotguns was just too OP in 1.2. But besides that, 1.2 was pretty good. Finally, they added the April Fool's update. The April Fool's update added the Eradicator sword and changed the map. RVZ also added McDonald's, Eradicator sword, and a little nice Easter egg. The Easter egg was some Roblox developer hitting RVZ and he was gonna make a new crim, but he was too lazy. I know the full story and I know the developer did not do anything and he needed help to make a door strip for some reason. The Eradicator sword one-shots and you do not need any armor to give you a speed buff. It costed 100k to get the Eradicator sword. And that is all about the April Fool's update. After 6 months of the community waiting for a new update, 1.3 dropped. But everyone hated 1.3. No one really liked 1.3. You got 20 cash from killing one person. $20 by killing one person. That is so unfair. And the refill prices were terrible as well. The refill prices were expensive for no reason, and the ammo counts were terrible on the guns. You had no reserve ammo on any gun, and the ammo was expensive for no reason. And you could not get any money by just killing someone. But let me just stop yapping about 1.3. They added the nunchucks and a bunch of new weapons. 1.3 added tier 3 armor, but for some reason Crim devs just removed tier 3 armor. Also in 1.3 they added the FAL and a Glock 18 and a bunch of melees. 1.3 added the baton, the battle song, and a new ammo type for the GL. The GL new ammo type was incendiary grenade, which is nice. The new ammo type for the GL was just a fire grenade. They also added the AKM, golf club, splint, and stun grenade. The AKM did a lot of damage, and the golf club was way more better than metal bat. They also added a new system where you can no longer take people's limbs. You could only break the limbs. It was a nice mechanic, but no one cared about it. Armor got reworked, so you had to repair your armor. And there was a map extension where it extended the Armory 2 area, added caves, and added some sewer areas. But in 1.3, they removed roof access, so you can no longer gun a bunch of people on roofs. No roof access, killing no longer gives you a lot of money, and ammo reserves were terrible, and 1.3 was very unoptimized. People with good PCs could not get a lot of FPS anymore. And before 1.3, it was already unoptimized. 1.3 was just unoptimized for no reason. They added way too many parts, so like it was just terrible. 1.3 like optimization was terrible. 1.3 was okay, but a lot of people just quit criminality. Criminality reached 100 players when it was like nighttime. Criminality was dead until they finally released another update to fix a 1.3's mess. Just a lot of things were buffed and a lot of things were nerfed, so they had to fix criminality because it was too dead. In 1.3.1, they finally fixed a lot of stuff. In 1.3.1, they added more gun stock, they nerfed tier 3 and tier 2 armor, and they nerfed a bunch of stuff and expanded a bunch of stuff as well. They even made criminality optimized, well, a little bit. But still, it was pretty cool that they optimized crim a little bit, and it was nice. And finally, they added a Halloween update. The 2021 Halloween update was pretty good. They added a new knife where if you finish someone, everyone near radius will be lit on fire. And a new melee like poison peoples, and you need an antidote if you want to be cured. And they added a new Game Pass weapon which costed $20 like the new snowball launcher. It was a hollow launcher and it costed 160 cash if you bought it. It was like the RPG but nerfed and you could not one-shot. But the hollow launcher could fling people, which is really nice. You could break bones with the hollow launcher, and it was pretty OP if you want to annoy someone. And they also added a new helmet, which was like the hollow's pumpkin. The Halloween's pumpkin was kind of nerfed because they had like a stupid overlay on the pumpkin. And the pumpkin can easily be broken. And there's some presents around the map. The presents could give you a helmet, the new melee, and you just get exploded if you get a shiv. The new melee was called the Cursed Dagger. Everyone liked the Halloween update. After 1.3.1-H, they finally revisited it. In 1.3.2, they added like randomized avatars and randomized name tags, so you don't get recognized if you're like a big YouTuber. They also added tool dropping, which is very good. So if you're like grinding and you just find like 9 shovels and you can't drop them, you can finally drop them now, and you can finally get the RPG. And that is it about 1.3.2. In 1.3.3, they changed a bunch of stuff. They added new weapons to red straps, removed some weapons to red straps, and put new weapons in green straps. And they changed armor, and that's it about 1.3.3. In 1.3.4, they added a new mode called competitive. In competitive, you get more XP and more cash if you kill people. But there is no saves to break. And if you get killed, you can no longer get downed. You just instant die if you reach 0 HP. And that is all about 1.3.4. Not a lot has happened in 1.3.4 patches. And after some time, we finally got 1.4. But before we talk about 1.4, they removed competitive and tier 3 armor for some reason before 1.4. They removed competitive because no one played it, but competitive was really good. You could get a lot of ammo and a lot of money if you killed like a bunch of people, but they removed it. And they removed tier 3 armor because tier 3 armor was OP, and that was it. And then we got 1.4. 1.4 revived the game. 1.4 revived the game, and now the game gets like 5k players daily, and it can even get 10k players. And now we're gonna talk about 1.4. 1.4 was a godsend for criminality. Criminality got revived so much. Old players came back and they just loved the update. They added a new Slayer armor and new Slayer sword. But the Slayer sword costs like $33,000 and the Slayer armor costs like $22,000, so it's not the same as the old Slayer armor and the Slayer sword. But if you have both of them equipped, you get a speed buff, and if you finish someone with the Slayer sword, you get a rage dose buff. The Slayer sword can now one-shot, and if someone's near a radius, and if you finish them with a Slayer sword, they get lit on fire. But it can only work if you have the Slayer sword armor. They added a new mode called casual, and in casual you do not get any money unless they have a bounty if you kill someone, which promotes not friendly behavior, because like criminality needs to be friendly behavior because you instantly get gunned down if you're in standard. They removed the beginner mode for prime users. And now Armory is not pay to win because you can get weapons from Armory without getting the Game Pass. But you cannot get exclusive Armory weapons unless you have the Armory Game Pass, which doesn't make criminality pay to win now. In 1.4.1 they added the Prime system, and in 1.4.1 criminality is now free. If you want to play standard mode, you have to get the Prime Game Pass to play standard. But criminality is now free, so everyone can play it now unless you're on Xbox or mobile. And everyone who bought the game already has Prime, so don't buy it if you have Prime. And in 1.4.2 they added the SKS. The SKS does like 25 damage, but it isn't that OP. It's really bad, and you can just get better guns with like under $1,000. But that is it. We finally reached the end of the update list. Tell me if you learned something from the video. Bye.